Hello guys, Trinson here. I checked out the subreddit called SupernovaRevenge. There isn't much post on it, but I tried to find some juicy stories that are pretty entertaining. Ahem. Cousin raped my big sister. Hope he enjoys his wheelchair. Ah, sweet home Alabama. No, this is a cross post / repost from r/nuclearrevenge. I posted there and was told to post it here. Thanks to you/German leader for the idea. Okay, so this was around the time when I was about 10 to 11. I was with my mother, big sister, and little sister. We were visiting my Uncle Darren and Auntie Carol. I forgot the names of my two cousins who lived there, as it's been over 15 years now. Anyway, one was male and the other female. Going to call the MC and FC, male cousin, female cousin. I love helping Uncle Darren work on cars in his garage. He was a mechanic and is the reason I love cars, and often join him during the week we visit. What I didn't know at the time was that while I was in the garage with Uncle, male cousin was taking advantage of my big sister. Male cousin is 17. Big sis is 2 years older than me. I don't know what happened in detail, but was told by my mom a while later. Male cousin forced my big sister to have sex with him. After I find that out, I lost my shit and bolted up the stairs as police were called. I kicked the bedroom door off its hinges to see male cousin sitting on his bed playing Tekken on his PS1 like nothing happened. I jumped from behind him and shanked my teeth into his right arm. He threw me off, but I drew blood from him. He then tried to push me out of the room, and I held into his shirt with all of my might. He swung me into a wall and I let go. He then tried to strangle me, so I kicked him down the stairs. Police came an hour later. I was told off for attacking my cousin, but not in too much trouble. Male cousin was arrested for statutory rape, assault against a minor, and actual bodily harm. I had a huge bruise on my back from impact on the wall. Mom was quick to leave me and my sisters. We haven't heard from Darren or Carol since, but I know that male cousin couldn't walk after he was kicked down those stairs. His spine was damaged. He's stuck in a wheelchair for life. Our family has been fragmented since. Okay. Fuck with me? Okay. Fuck with my dog? Get fucked. I originally posted this story on r/nuclearrevenge, but was told by many people to upload it here. I have 3 dogs, Tiki, Scruffy, and Bailey, which my family has rescued from the streets and uncaring neighbors who couldn't care if the animal died. I also have 2 cats, Halo and Snowflake, both of which I adopted from the SPCA. I have Tourette's, ADD, and OCD, and the tics from my Tourette's made me a prime target for bullying. At that point in my life, I was the shy weird kid in the class that never spoke. I had no friends, and my companions were the only reason I woke up in the morning. One kid, we shall call Andy, loved to feel strong, so he picked on me. He beat me up, made me feel like trash, and sicked other trash humans beings on me, one of which I later in my life became friends with. In general, I'm a patient little bastard and very vengeful. One day, my mom brought one of my dogs, Tiki, to school so we could take her to the vet without driving back home, because the closest vet was 50 kilometers away, and Tiki needs the heart scan. My mom needed the toilet, so she left Tiki with me. Straight after she left, Andrew and 2 of his goons showed up. Andy, what's this spaz? Got a new toy for us to play with? Me, Andy, please, she's very sick. I'm begging you, please leave her alone. Andrew, oh, but where's the fun in that? Andy proceeds to pick up Tiki up and toss her to his friends. Tiki had surgery and steel bars placed on few of her bones, so it hurts her a lot if you don't pick her up properly. I can post the pictures of the x-rays. Because of the pain she is in, she snaps at Andrew and bites his hand. Andy, little shit, learn respect. Andy then proceeds to chuck Tiki a solid 5 meters where she hits the ground on her side. I began to scream and my mom starts to run from the bathroom after hearing my scream. Andy and his gang then run, laughing. My mom and I scoop Tiki up, who's wheezing and bleeding from her mouth, and take her to the vet while I tell my mom what happened on the way there. Tiki ended up passing away because of the brain hemorrhaging from the blunt trauma. Scruffy waited at the front door of my house for 2 days waiting for Tiki to come home. Waiting. Okay, this is actually making me really depressed. I tried to tell the staff what happened, but Andy was a popular kid and his parents were a very close friend with the principal, so nothing was done to get justice. This whole ordeal caused me to become immensely depressed, but in the end, I was left a festering vessel of rage. No more quiet shy kid, no more little weak boy. No more. I devised a plan. I went to the gym for every morning at 4:30 until 5:30. Then I would get dressed and go to school. This boosted my self-confidence, and soon I gained a few friends, who are still my friends to this day. I became a teacher's pet. I made the whole school think I was a loyal goody two-shoe teacher's pet, all according to plan. After 3 years, I was seen by the staff as the epitome of a good and innocent student. No one would suspect me to harm anyone else. Andy had a scholarship to my school for playing sports, and it was his passion in life. Would be a shame if someone were to end that. I told some people who I knew would take action, what he did to my dog, and how I knew some people that would pay generously for the service. Next week, everyone is chatting in class. You heard what happened to Andy? Yeah, I heard someone mugged him and busted up his leg. A communicated leg bone was what was left. The assailant smashed Andy's leg with a hammer so many times that the bone broke into more than 5 pieces. The leg was unsalvageable and had to be amputated. Bye-bye scholarship, and all his favorite things to do in life. No one suspected me. The outgoing kind teacher's pet who never held grudges. Yes, definitely not me. Andy, if you are reading this, I have just one thing to say. See you in hell, cunt. Poisoned and nearly drowned primary school bully and ruined his future. Partially responsible for him attempting suicide. On mobile, so sorry for format. Hi y'all. This is my first time posting to a revenge subreddit, so please feel free to criticize to help me improve. Anyway, onto the story. This was years ago, so events may have been subconsciously embellished. The story finally has a perfect ending now, finishing on Monday 11th, March 2019. And Ethan will never bully again. Enjoy! Also, please do not post revenge ideas below, as a moderator has informed me that it is against the rules, so I have deleted the part where I ask for ideas. Codes, bully, Ethan, not his real name, me, teacher, teacher. So this takes place about 8 or 7 years ago, and all started in year 3. I used to go to an after-school club and a breakfast club because my parents had work. Ethan was a fat kid, but stockingly built, so easily intimidating. He loved pushing his weight around and swore like a sailor. Now, I have had OCD and anxiety for a long time now, and only got diagnosed 3 years ago, but my psychiatrist thinks it's been happening most of my life. Back then, I had issues where I had to put my hand under really hot water if I touched something I thought was dirty, and had some red patches on my skin. I know it may sound kind of weird, but trust me, it made my life hell. Of course, Ethan's attention was drawn to my seclusive and weird behaviors, and took advantage of it. He would put his finger up his nose and chase me around with it. He would pour mayonnaise into my tray, primary school lockers. He would corner me in the bathroom, and kick me around before trying to fucking piss on me. Yes, this actually happened. He did a lot more shit, and as we progressed to year 4, he had changed tactics. He started spreading rumors about me. He tried to turn everyone against me, and since we were all gullible shits, they believed him. Now, I couldn't tell a teacher because back then I thought no one would believe me, and I was scared. I started getting depressed, and I was really young. His bullying became worse in year 5. Now it was all physical. The shit that tipped me over the edge is when he gave me a black eye, and then punched my nose, which still gives me problems today. He must have realized it was serious, so he dragged me into the medical room, and gave the teacher a bullshit reason to my state. Ethan stayed in the room to make sure I didn't tell them off. Year 6, revenge year. I was done with this shit. I didn't want to get him back, I wanted to ruin him. I decided to launch multiple attacks, but he had to know it was me and not have proof. My school didn't have cameras in the kitchens, and I knew Ethan was lactose intolerant. I learned this while the teacher left me alone in the medical room one day, to get some water for me after I got a cold one day, and started to look through some file of what some kids couldn't eat for religious or medical reasons. That means Ethan had a special lunch, so I brought some cheese in with me in my packed lunch and spiked his sandwiches. Come lunchtime, and I sat in my usual lonely spot, practically bursting with excitement. Ethan, being the greedy little shit he is, shoveled down his food without realizing the different taste. He had stomach cramps and was on the toilet for ages, but this wasn't enough. I had to destroy him. Second attack, Ethan had bullied me particularly bad that day, and I had a few bruises. So I was in the revenge mood. I was allowed to carry a phone because I had to take the bus home as my family couldn't afford after-school club anymore. In the playground, I heard Ethan and his friend playing 21 Dares. And Ethan was dared to hit the fire alarm. He said yes. Fast forward to lunch, I see him head out to the corridor where there was no CCTV for some stupid reason. I take out my phone and filmed. Ethan hits the alarm ring, and he turns around to see me. We both just froze, and I see fear in his eyes as he knows what I've done. I run. I give this to the head teacher, and Ethan is suspended. Attack 3. My school takes year 6 kids to the local pool, and we have swimming lessons. I was great and a natural. Ethan, on the other hand, was not. He lied to the instructor and said he could swim well as not to be embarrassed and put it in the learners' pool for shit swimmers. Half the class in learners and the rest in the main pool. When no one is looking, I swim under and pull Ethan's leg so he gets dragged under. I kicked up and slammed my foot into his face and he's going deeper. I shout for a lifeguard and he gets dragged out, splurting and can barely breathe. He's crying and I smirked. I go out to the changing rooms and steal his clothes and towel. Ethan recovers, the class is over, and everyone comes back to change Ethan last. Long story short, he had to stay behind and wait for his mom to pick him up half naked and soaking. This was not enough. The final attack, future ruining. I bought some spy glasses that had a shitty camera on the side that records, and I took it into school. Ethan bullies me throughout class, but as it was summer, I was allowed to wear shades. At break, Ethan cornered me at the far end of the playground. As I hoped, but this time it was extreme. He started calling me racist things. I am Asian. Kicked me in the nuts and smashed his fist into my glasses, all while it was recording. Forgot to mention my phone was recording sound in my pocket. I uploaded the video to my PC, then phone. And the thing is, Ethan and I had applied for the same grammar school. It was in the top 50 schools in the country, so it was a big deal. When the interview at the school came, I showed the interviewer this video of Ethan, and he was suitably horrified. He forwarded this to the head and Ethan was no longer allowed to place at the secondary school, and his record was fucked. He ended up being in one of the worst schools in the country, and I later found out from my neighbor, who goes to that school, that Ethan is bullied relentlessly. That was the first time I heard about Ethan in ages. I remember all the horrible stuff he put me through, and I decided I wanted my last bit of revenge. I paid my neighbor to make his life hell and steal all his books and revision notes, and make sure he fails everything. I later found out that Ethan was diagnosed with depression and tried to kill himself from drug overdose, but was put in hospital, and he was steady and got out a week after. 3 years later and Ethan still bullies, so Edit 9 solved it. I was done with revenge after his suicide attempt, but I had to do something to stop him bullying. This is 3 years later. Better. Edit 9. Great news, guys. The bully kids got together and beat up Ethan. A teacher came up to break it up, and the kids tell all the stories of his bullying, and that this time they were all together, so they defended themselves. Several others back them up, and Ethan has a week suspension. More great news. I saw Ethan on the way home from school, as the coach takes me from 13 miles away, and his school is near my house. It's worth it, as it's one of the top schools, as I explained in Attack 3, and asked the coach driver to drop me off here, and crept up behind Ethan. I chuckled and said, "How's life?" He looked so defeated, I almost felt sorry for, but not being he started screaming about how he was going to kill me. I ran and Ethan chased after me, but I stopped abruptly and stick my leg out into his nuts. I laughed at him, groaning in agony on the ground, and left. Never felt so good in my life. Ethan is suspended for the rest of the week, internally for the last day, but the rest at home. University and jobs will not like this man's record. We have come to the end of the story. Thank you so much if you got to the end of the story, and I can finally sleep soundly knowing how good my life is, compared to Ethan's now. That will be all for me for today. Even though there wasn't much fresh posts as the others, it's still very satisfying to read how far these individuals go for. As always, be sure to like. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with more Reddit reads. Have a nice day, guys.